Okay, we have completed our discussion about the factors that affecting the degree of rationality. Okay, now we are coming to the topic of risk tolerance. Okay, so we will discuss about the risk tolerance according to the demography attributes. So the first one will be the age. Okay, I think most of us will know that as a person grow older, okay, the person will tends to be able to take less risk. Okay, so this is one of the very general one. Okay, but what we are discussing here is the according to the demographic as a whole. Okay, it may not apply to each and every individuals. Okay, so although we say that as a person grow older, the person tends to take less risk, but on the other hand, because of the experience that the person gained throughout the time, okay, the person may be able to take higher risk. The second one will be the gender attribute. Okay, so I believe most of us will also believe that women generally are more risk averse compared to men. Okay, this may be due to the product and also the activities that are being carried out by men and women. So in today's world, the difference the gap may not be that big or that huge because the activities being carried out by men and women nowadays are almost similar. But however, generally we still perceive that women is more risk averse compared to men. And the third one is the birth sequence of a person in the family. So this is an interesting one. So what would be your guess? The eldest one will be a more risk taker, or the youngest one will be a higher risk taker? Okay, so according to observation and data and statistic, okay, generally in Asia, the eldest is more risk averse. Okay, why do we say so? Is study shows that it could be due to our Asian family culture. Okay, the eldest person was expected to behave more properly as an example to the younger siblings. So, which is why the person may like being trained to be more careful when doing any decision, so that not to make any big mistake. So this could have contributed to the reason why an eldest person, the first child, may be more risk averse compared to the younger one. And also a lot of time we also know that the youngest one may be easier to get what they want. Okay, so and got the love for most of the people and easily forgive. Okay, if make any mistake, so it also train them to be able to take up more risks. Okay, and the fourth one will be the marital status. Okay, generally we also classify that a single person is a higher risk taker compared to a married person. However, it may not completely due to the marital status, but it could be the reason behind the marital status come with responsibility. Because when we were single, we only need to be responsible to ourselves or maybe to our parents. But when we form our families, especially when we have kids, okay, then there will be more dependence relying on us. Okay, one simple example is like a single person, if let's say he or she decided to change a job, okay, the decision may come easier and faster, because as long as he or she thinks that he can get a new job or he can survive for a short period of time, then he may be able to change a job. But if let's say you are already the main person who contribute financially to the family, then in that case, you might have to think more carefully before you make a decision, and hence you dare not to take more higher risk compared to a single person. Okay. The fifth demographic attribute that we are going to discuss here will be occupation. People tend to choose occupation according to their risk behavior. Okay, for example, a government servant compared to a private sector servant. Normally, people who like to be more conservative in about when his or her risk towards risk, right, will tend to choose to be a government servant because it is considered to be more stable, okay? And then those people who are willing to take more risk might want to go for private sector because they may think that there's a potential for higher gain compared to becoming a government servant. And this also applies not only to compare between government servants and also private sector's employee. Even the employees of a small firm compared to large firms, they are also different. Okay, people in the private sector itself, like most of the time, those who are working in the large firms will tend to be a bit more risk averse compared to those in the small firms. Okay, it could be due to that the safety of the job, the pay, okay, the consistency. They feel that working in the large firm is like more stable, okay, compared to small firms. However, those who are willing to work in the small firms may think that this is an opportunity. If let's say the firms will grow, then there is a good opportunity for them to grow as well. So this also affects their risk tolerance amongst different sectors of employees. Okay. The next point will be the wealth. We can easily say that a more wealthy person is willing to take up more risk when it comes to investment. Okay, when we talk about this risk tolerance from the point of view of wealth, we are talking about two different tolerance. The first one is absolute risk tolerance. Okay, absolute risk tolerance means that the absolute ringgit or the absolute measurement of the ringgit size or the wealth. Okay, so in terms of number. And the other one will be the relative risk tolerance, which is measured by the proportion. So that's the absolute risk we are talking about. Let's say a person willing to risk 500,000 or 1 million or 2 million in an investment. That is absolute risk tolerance. But how much actually is the 1 million compared to his overall wealth? Okay, let's say 1 million to a person with a net worth of 10 million is actually only 10%. Okay, but when you compare that to a person with a net worth of 500,000, okay, 500,000 will be 100% of the proportion of his wealth. Okay, so however, we will say that the higher the level of the wealth of a person, both absolute risk tolerance and relative risk tolerance tends to be higher. Okay, because maybe to meet the basic necessity of that person, he only need about 5 or 10% of the wealth. So he is able to utilize the other 90% of his wealth to go for riskier investment. But compared to a person who has, who needs about 80% or 70% of his wealth to support his living, right? Then he may be only willing to risk the 30% of his or her wealth, okay, for riskier investment. And the last one will be the education background, the knowledge. Okay, when we talk about educational background, it might lead us to think about the proper education or formal education level of that person, whether the person is secondary school graduate or whether is a degree holder, master holder or PhD holder. But basically, this is not what we meant here by the educational level or background, but rather the knowledge onto the issues, about the issues. Okay, so compare, for example, if let's say a person who is an SPM leaver, but he has been doing investment for the past 10 years or 15 years. He has learned about investment, although not through a formal education. So you can see that he's only an SPM leaver, but with the 15 years experience in analyzing about investment, studies about investment, he may be able to take up higher risk. Okay, he may have higher risk tolerance in investment compared to a PhD holder. Maybe the person is a professor in a university. Okay, his area of research is in the biology or other area which is not related to investment. So although the education level for the professor is a lot higher compared to the SPM leaver, but the knowledge level on about the particular issue, the SPM level may have a higher level of knowledge. So the SPM level may tend to take higher risk compared to the professor.